Welcome cartoonists, again another challenge today. I hope you got your pencils sharpened because another skateboarding cartoon. This time it's a cockatiel on a skateboard with a little bonus thing in the background there, which I'm going to show you a different angle how to draw a skateboard. So we're going to get straight in. We've got a nice curved, like an N-shaped curve. Now it's longer on one side than the other. You'll notice it goes down a little bit further. They're not quite even. It's further down. If you look at it on the level, it's a bit further down, a bit longer on one side than it is on the other. And this is where the beak goes. We're just going to do a little hook for a beak on that side. So it's like a profile cartoon. It's from the side there. We're just adding to that hook, going to a little point there and a rounded shape underneath. It's a little bit shorter, the bottom part of the beak. So we can just do that little line. Now I've given it a little bit of a smile so it's not looking too miserable, and then I'll just round that off and you've got your beak finished. Again, pause if you're getting behind or you struggle with any of these shapes. The eye is quite a simple one again, just a little circle filled in with just a little bit missing for the shiny part of the eye. So from the head we're going to curve a line down for the neck. That just goes down on a slight curve, and that'll give it a little bit of movement. The same again from the beak downwards. It can be a straight line, and that is the head, the neck, the beak and the eye. And we're pretty much done on the head, apart from the one thing that makes it stand out as a cockatiel, and that's like the crest on the top of its head where it sticks all its feathers up when it's getting excited. So we do a line going up, curving forward and back on itself again, so it's like a little point at the top. Don't quite go all the way down to the head, just stop short. So we go up, down, stop about there, and now we have a shorter one curving in the same direction, stop again short of the head, and then a smaller one again, and now you can join the head. And that's what kind of makes it look like a cockatiel. So that is the head finished. So if you've kept up with that, or even if you paused it a couple of times, we're doing okay. I bet you couldn't draw a cockatiel before. This part of the body, this is the chest, because it's chest going one way and it's kind of looking backwards. So it's a nice big C shape there. And it's going to go up to a point in a minute. So if you start thinking about that line is going to carry up to its tail, so we carry it right the way around. Now this is its wing. We can't see much of it because it's hidden by its body. So all we need to do is that line jutting out a little bit, and we can shade that later. Now for its back, and you'll see why now. We've left that sort of line unfinished for its chest area. We're going up to the tail. You can go as far up as you like. And if you get to draw a few of them, you can make them all a little bit different. So just, even use this one as a practice. So I'm going to work on the wing now. It's going to be another C shape, just curving round there, around about here, halfway between the back and its chest. So one line, a second line, a little bit longer, and they overlap a little bit. And it's almost the way we draw fingers. So you've got 3 big feathers there leading up to its back. So that wing is kind of tucked at its side, which is essential for skateboarding, which means it doesn't have to wear elbow pads. So we're going to go back on ourselves in a minute, but before we do, I'm going to put the leg that's most visible at the front. And all it is 2 lines which go narrower, and you just close it at the bottom, so it's like a square U shape or almost a V shape. And then from there we take it all the way up to the tail. So we've kind of broken the line from the chest up to the tail with that leg, which just makes it stand out and makes your cartoon look really, really good. So we just extend that leg a little bit. can pop a little joint on there, a little elbow or knee, whichever you like to call it, and then carry on down with the leg. So it goes to the elbow or the knee and then down. So they're quite thin, the legs, on most birds. It's like lightweight landing gear. And we're just leaving room now for the foot. Just that line like a U shape going down, follow it, little point at the end because they've got claws on the end. But we won't go to too much detail as long as it looks something like that bird's foot. For the little claws in the background, you just need a couple of little triangles because they're mostly hidden by that front claw, and put a little one for it's like its thumb almost. And that will just about do for one leg. That leg is actually pushing off on the skateboard. Don't forget this for some reason is on a skateboard. So you've got the two lines going down, a little elbow, extend it a little bit, and then going down to a nice flat line with those little claws on the end. For the leg that's mostly hidden by the body, just two little short lines, again coming together in that U shape. I've just put a little bit of extra shadow there because it's cast, that shadow's cast by the body. Carry on that leg down a little bit. It can be straight, so you don't really need an elbow. And then I'm doing a little curved shape there that goes down and over. Same again. It can be straight, it can be flat. It doesn't, not really important this. Just see how you go with that shape, just curving up like that. Just giving a little bit of movement. These are really tricky drawing birds' feet. I'd be interested to see what your cartoons are like. There's the thumb again. And that's ready to stand on a skateboard. A couple of little toes in the background. And that is ready to stand on a skateboard. So we can't really draw the skateboard first because you might run out of paper at the top. So I like to work my way down a cartoon, and now from the head, the body, the wing, the legs, and now the deck of that skateboard. I think we had a skateboarding panda last time. If you haven't seen that one, check that one out. We've got a bit of a skateboard theme going here and there. So there's a little curved ends for when the cockatiel wants to do some tricks. Follow that line as straight as you can. Mine's a bit wobbly. I hope yours is too. Don't make me look that I'm not very good. And some little movement marks just to show that that leg is actually kicking off. Now I'm trying to do an easy way of drawing the sort of underside, the wheels of a skateboard. So if you start with a wheel, leave a little bit of a gap between your skateboard deck and your wheel and just do circles either end. In the middle, a couple more little circles. That's where the bearings are, where they spin around at high speed. Now this is a tricky bit, so try and stay with me here. A little curve from the deck to the wheel. We'll do one in the other direction there. And now a straight line to around about there. Don't worry if you go too far. You don't join up to the skateboard just yet. And then from there, another curve coming down and just closing at the end. And you can see those are called the trucks of the skateboard. Those what hold the wheels in place and attach them to the board. So you've got the little circle, those little round shapes, a square shape or straight shape there. And now you're ready to pop the other wheel on the other side. And whatever you can fit in, it's going to be smaller, that wheel, because it's in the distance. You know, one's in the foreground, which makes it bigger, and one's in the background, so it's a little bit smaller. And if you want to put a little bit of shading to show it's going along the ground, you can do. Or if it's off the ground, do the shading a little bit below the wheel, like we've done before. You don't have to move your cartoon to make it look like it's flying off the ground, just that little bit of shading. So I just want to show you a different way, a different angle for drawing a skateboard. just really quickly here, you can just watch if you don't want to have a go, or maybe have a go later. So you got like a long oval shape, and that is looking from the front of the skateboard. Okay, these are those trucks that we've drawn below, just two lines coming down, and if you curve them out, then we're starting to get the sort of classic shape of the underside of a skateboard where the wheels go. Straight line closed off, and then on either end of that, believe it or not, we've got a couple of squares. So you can draw a line down there, and it's basically a square, because those wheels from the end do look square, they don't look round until you shade them, which I'll show you in a minute. And that is how to draw a skateboard face on. Really simple. Have a go at that. I think you'll enjoy doing that. I'll put something on top of there in a minute, just because I can't just leave it like that. I have to put something on there. So I'm just shading, again, just showing you different shading techniques. You use as many colours as you like. Maybe leave a little bit of lighter colour around the eye, just to add more texture and depth to your cartoon. All the way down the wing. Maybe leave the wingtips a different shade, and the tail darker, just again to give it more depth and movement, and it just makes it stand out more. All the little bits that you've worked really hard to draw, don't just cover them all up. Use different shading techniques. This foot is in the background, so it's a little bit darker because it's shaded by the body. It's cast a shadow over that back foot, and underneath the light's not quite getting to the underside of the body, so you can shade it with your darker pencils. Maybe a little bit more colour on the head, like I've put some shading on the cheek there, that could be red or purple, whichever. Makes it look a bit more exotic. Now you can add some colour to the wheels, maybe shade the ones in the background a little bit to show that they are, put them further in the background. I know you've done them a bit smaller, but also shade them as well so they sort of disappear into the background. Whatever colours you want to use would be great, and please send them in because I do like to see them. Now here's a simple shading technique. Okay, I'm going to press quite hard at the bottom, getting lighter and lighter till I'm not even shading the top. So I'm hard at the bottom, lighter, lighter, and then leave the top. And it looks round now. That square now looks round. And then just shading in the deck of the skateboard. And that's just a nice way of doing it. Again, if you don't have to draw this if you don't want. I just can't leave that skateboard with nothing on there, so I've got to draw something. So I'm doing a big end shape. What can we put now? A little beak, a couple of eyes. So that's the head of a little chick. Maybe it's the chick of this cockatiel. Little wings sticking up, trying to keep the balance, getting into skateboarding young. Be headstands soon. And I've left enough room for the legs, which are quite long on a little chick. So leave plenty of room if you can. Or if you can't have much room, do them really wide apart, like it's trying to keep its balance. Those are the little legs, just two little curves for the feet. Don't go into too much detail because it still looks like a little chick on a skateboard. And because it's very, very cool, I'm just adding a little baseball hat or a frying pan, whichever you think it looks more like, or whichever you think is more silly. So I'm just shading that in now. I'd probably do those feet orange and the beak orange to match up, and the body could be yellow, or I'll leave that to you. If yours are any better than my first attempts, you're doing really, really well. Some of these are a bit scary. So just have a go, send them in. We're featuring them on our Facebook group, which I always look forward to seeing. And give us a thumbs up and tell us what you think and what you'd like to draw. Leave a comment for us. And I look forward to seeing you on the next workshop.